Good morning. Good morning. It is self-care day with Coach Phee, day 4 of my 75. So I decided to do 75 days of self-care, and self-care means physical, mental, spiritual, and financially. So every day I must work on a piece of that to get me to my end goal. And in the mornings, so I chose to do in the mornings my health part of it. So that consists of me walking, doing my 1-minute plank. And today I added in, I think it's called some Russian twist to get rid of these, to get my waist back snatched. So I'm super excited because this morning on my walk, like every morning when I wake up and I go walking, there's something that I think about. But today, because I really did not feel like it, y'all, like I was sore from yesterday because I had added in some extra stuff. But in my mind, the first thing that came to my mind, that God placed in my mind, was you gotta push through. And that was one of those poems, one of the poems that I had taught my son from this lady that has this page. I can't remember her name right now, but I taught him the I gotta push through. And that is what I thought about this morning. Push through. And so that's what I did. And when I pushed through, I beat yesterday's goal. So yesterday's time. It wasn't a goal yesterday. Yesterday was just get up and do it. Today was really get up and do it. And I did that. But when I was thinking about it, I said, walking and seeing and just thinking and praying, I said, when we were kids, or when I was a kid, my grandparents and my parents, they raised me to live, right? I mean, they raised me to survive, right? So what does that look like to them? That means getting a good job. That means having good benefits. And a good job to them means something that is stable, not financially stable, but something that you can get up and go to every day, right? And those are the type of things that they taught me, which was great because they taught me what they knew, right? They taught me what they knew to teach me. But then as I started growing older, I started implementing some of the other things that they said. My grandfather said, save 10 cents on every dollar, right? So now you start saving and you start doing other things and you start learning more. So my grandfather said, read, right? So when you start reading things that's going to put you in a different place, you start learning how to be better. So when you know better, you do better, right? So this is what part of my 75-day self-care is all about. Even with the health part of it, like there's so many different diseases going around because we don't take care of ourselves. And even in my own family, my grandmother, she was a diabetic. She had cholesterol, so she had stents, different things going on with her heart. She had her heart surgery. Then she had stents, and then it was different things. And then there's cancer that runs on different sides of the family. So there's all these different things. But when we start knowing better, we start doing better. So I'm not saying that I'm not subject to any of that. But what I'm saying is I got to stay consistent and take my health seriously so I can try to prevent any of that coming to this dwelling right here, to this household, to this building right here that God has blessed me with every day, right? But then when I also thought about the push through, like when I was out there walking and I felt like I wasn't walking fast enough, I was like, okay, there's the light. So push harder to get to that light. And then after I got to the light, I said, okay, there's another. So I kept focusing on the next goal and the next goal. Once I reached the one point, I looked at the next point. And so that is what I plan to do with my 75 days of self-care. When I reach one point, I'm going to push myself to the next point, because who am I to teach my son to push through the adversities and to push through to the next level if I don't do it myself, right? One of the things is I'm teaching him I want him to fall in love with reading, because reading was never something that I fell in love with. It was one of those things where I was told, you have to read, read this, read everything you get your hands on. But it didn't interest me. So now what I've done is I said, I have to be that example. So I've ordered books that I like to read, okay? And when my son sees me reading, then he's like, oh, let me go get my book so I can read. And then we switch off. So then I'll read a couple chapters of his book, and then I'll read a couple chapters of my book while he listens. But I have to be the example of pushing through and doing things that we don't necessarily like to do, but eventually fall in love with doing. So my hope is that I fall in love with every aspect of being, of my being, my mental, my physical, my spiritual, my financial. Because when you fall in love with all of those things grow. Like it says, whatever you put your main focus on, that is what grows. So if I combine all of those things on a daily basis and stay consistent. See, 75 is the year I was born, but it's also significant to me because I want to hit that goal. Like once I put it in my mind, I'm like, okay, 75. And this year I'm going to be 45 years old, right? So at the end of the year, at the beginning of the year, I said, I have a goal. No, last year on my birthday is when I really set that goal. I was like, I have a goal that I want to be at, but what did that look like? I didn't even have a roadmap of what that looked like for my year. I just knew that I had to kick it in. I had to do what I needed to do. And so now that I've got it all figured out, now the 75 days is to put it all together and do it. So I am going to video journal my 75 days. And this is day 4. Day 3, I did a Facebook Live. So if you want to follow me on Facebook, I am on Coach Fee's Playbook. Coach Fee's Playbook is the website. And then I'm also on Instagram, IG, under Coach Phee, right? And so if you can't find me, then go to my personal page, which is Sophia Coach Phee Oberton, and then you'll find my links of Coach Fee's Playbook, right? But I want to be able to hopefully inspire you while I'm keeping motivating, inspiring myself. As you see, I got my walk on, my sweat on early this morning, even when I didn't feel like it. So what I want to tell you is, even when you don't feel like it, push through. Don't give yourself no excuses. Don't say, oh, it's too hot. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, I don't feel like it. Oh, this hurts. Oh, I got to do this. Stop making excuses on why you can't hit your goal, right? We just got to get up and push through. As bad as I wanted to lay in my bed this morning, I rolled over. God woke me up and said, you're not laying there. The alarm didn't even go off. I woke up before the alarm. You're not laying there. You said you had to go. Get up. It's just get up and do it. And get it done and out the way. Once you get it done and out the way, you feel so much better. And I am really, really hyped this morning because I hit another level with walking. Like I did that 3.25 miles in under an hour. I'm super psyched about that because I have been hitting that hour. And then I shaved a few minutes off of each hour, each mile. So I'm super hype about that too. That just lets me know that once I stay focused and stay focused on that next goal. So once I reach that one goal, I kicked it in gear. I kicked it in another notch. I kicked it in gear. So continue to reach your goals and then look to the next goal and reach that. Kick it in gear. When even at the last part of it, I said, okay, I can't slow down now. I got to keep going. You know, when we get to that part where we feel like, oh, I made it, is when we start to slow down and get into that comfort zone. But then that's when you got to really kick it in gear. You really got to go after that finish line. Go after that finish line strong. You can't slow down in the third part of the race. You got to run your marathon, but kick it in. So what I'm telling you today is push through. And this is Coach Phee with Self-Care Day number 4. And I'm super hyped to be on this journey. And I hope that you take this journey with me. And with that being said, peace out.